I'm very interested to see what everybody has to say about this one. We're going to be talking about Glock switches. Now, if you missed my first video that I did about this, then feel free to click up top. You can also scroll down in the description and you'll see it attached there. But the news segment I'm going to show you all is an interesting one because we're actually getting to meet the founder of the Glock switch, which in him founding it, it was intended to be a tool to be used by professionals. It wasn't intended to be something that would be misused the way it's being misused now by criminals to, harm and take the lives of others and terrorize the community. So what I want to get your thoughts on, and what I want you, to think about as you're, watching this news segment is who's to blame? If there's anyone to blame, who's to blame for the epidemic, that, or the crisis, if we call it that, the crisis that there is now with these devices being used to convert handguns into fully automatic weapons. Stay tuned to the end, and I'll get more specific with the questions.
This is a catastrophe. American people, they don't deserve this. They don't deserve this. So many years ago, around 1987, I came out with an invention. The name is fire selector system. That applies for a famous handgun pistol. It's named Glock. I created my invention always looking forward for the future to help military, to help SWAT teams, to help like a tool. I think this is my words of commitment that I am looking forward to help and to cooperate with a solution.
The first thing I want to say, and I want to get your thoughts on, is whether or not you think Glock should modify their firearm. I think that sounds great. Modify your firearm so they can't put this, these switches on it. I think that sounds great, but I think practically speaking, I don't think that's realistic. Because for one, Glock didn't do anything. They didn't invent, the invention. They didn't invent the device. Like, why should they get penalized? For that. Like, that's a lot of time, energy, I'm sure, and money that would have to go into them modifying it. And even if they say modify all their new handguns, right, that doesn't solve the problem. That would only apply to the new models, which, I don't know about you, but I'm not going out to buy the newest Glock just because. So I don't see how that would necessarily solve the problem. It's not like it's a software update that they can apply to all the handguns that are on the street. So even if they did go about doing that, which is their prerogative, I feel like, that doesn't solve the problem. But that's the first thing I want to get your thought on. Now, here's the thing. I can't imagine being the inventor of something and then my invention being involved in the taking of lives when my intent was to help people. That's got to be a horrible feeling in itself. But it's like in the U.S., we seem to be able to sue everybody for everything. Is the inventor, really the one to blame here? I just think about all the other technology and stuff we have. It's like every time we make an advancement, like a technological advancement, unfortunately, it's like a yin and a yang. The criminals find a way to misuse it. And whereas with this Glock switch device, there seems to be a very, I would say, clear way to misuse it that, I don't know, maybe the inventor really wasn't thinking about that when he did it. But I mean, I think that's, if you're making something that could be used for a firearm, I think it's, I think you should be able to foreshadow a bit to figure out, okay, this could probably easily be misused. But nevertheless, that wasn't their intent. Think about something as simple as a car. The inventor of the car. Okay, boom. Well, cars kill people every day, or they're involved in people, losing their lives every day in traffic accidents, which are accidental. You do have criminals that, may use the cars in commissions of crimes, drive-by shootings, hit and runs, and things like that. But we don't blame the inventor of the car for that. We blame the person that's operating the vehicle. So I want to get your thoughts on it. But, my thought is, when it comes to this Glock switch device, if somebody didn't come up with it, if this guy didn't come up with it, somebody else probably would have came up with it. So I hope he's not beating himself up too bad, because if his intentions were good, his intentions were good. It's the criminals that are misusing this stuff that are really to blame. Just like a regular firearm in itself. The invention of the firearm took us from having to use just bow and arrow and knives to be able to hunt and defend ourselves to now we have a more efficient way to do it. But unfortunately, when we made that leap, that advancement, of course, humanity started using it to, fight each other in wars, and the criminals started using it to commit crimes and take people's lives unjustly. So I feel like that's always something you deal with when you make technological advancements. But the blame, I feel, should fall mostly on the people who are actually committing the acts. I don't think it should really fall on the inventor of the technology, unless either they had some ill intent when they were inventing it, or if they knew that, hey, there's some clear dangers here, but I'm just going to ignore it, because that's where negligence comes into play.